We often view social problems as isolated issues like single slices of a pie, but they are symptoms of deeper systemic misalignment and parts of a larger pie or bigger system. This presentation utilizes an interdisciplinary psychosocial metatheory to explore how shifting our perspective can lead to more sustainable, transformative solutions. Our current system is built on rigid, closed hierarchies where power is concentrated at the top and maintained through authority, exclusion, and social controls. In contrast, adaptive systems emerge dynamically based on relational needs, allowing for decentralized power and open governance, something our current artificial structures resist. Because closed systems are unnatural, they require control to maintain stability. Every level of a system mirrors the others. Family dynamics, workplaces, governments, and global institutions are all ingredients in our pie. They reinforce dominant social norms. Power currently flows in a structured, inequitable way, suppressing systemic change through hierarchical control, economic dependence, and cultural conditioning. These self-reinforcing feedback loops prioritize stability over transformation, ensuring that those in power maintain dominance while preventing regenerative change. Natural systems rely on resilience, adaptability, and co-creation in a self-correcting feedback loop to drive sustainable change. Bronfenbrenner's ecological systems theory found that transforming relational patterns on a microsystems level can reshape institutions and exosystems, which then influence the macrosystemic cultural paradigms. The future of social systems theory may move towards replacing rigid hierarchies with adaptable relational structures that can respond dynamically to change and allow for fluid movement within systems, much like how ecosystems self-organize. This would produce a regenerative, living and breathing, intelligent, and self-aware relational system that has parallels to multiple spiritual and philosophical beliefs, such as Eastern and Indigenous ideas around small-scale structures mirroring the whole, like fractal patterns, which retain properties of the original. There are also ideas in quantum physics and mysticism regarding a holographic universe, and similar reciprocal realities are found in Ubuntu and Taoism. For this project, I created a unified systems theory similar to Stephen Hawking's idea of a theory of everything, only mine is on a social scale instead of his cosmological one. At this time, it integrates 19 foundational systems theories across ecology, society, psychology, governance, and economics into a cohesive, regenerative model for human and planetary well-being. A key concept, collective consciousness theory by Durkheim, posited that shared beliefs, values, and norms form an independent system that shapes human interactions. When integrated with Gaia theory, this suggests culture, cognition, and ecosystems are interdependent, forming an evolutionary feedback loop where consciousness and the material world shape each other. Gaia theory views Earth as a self-regulating living system where organisms and their environments co-evolve for balance. Similarly, human society and consciousness function as dynamic, interconnected systems influencing ecology, economy, and governance. Panarchy and Gaia theories combine to show Earth as a self-regulating organism, and the collective unconscious and collective consciousness theories combine to describe humanity as an emergent system within Gaia. World systems theory, circular economy, and caring economics show economic systems as a metabolic process, and together this unified framework reveals Earth as a self-sustaining, evolving system. The Gaian biosphere is Earth's body adapting through climate regulation, biodiversity, and energy cycling. Human consciousness and culture are Earth's evolving mind, processing collective memory, myths, and systems of meaning. Economic and governance structures act as metabolic and nervous systems, influencing the flow of resources, power, and decision-making. This unified systems theory proposes that all systems operate under the same fundamental laws of self-regulation, adaptation, and interconnected feedback loops. It challenges hierarchical, coercive models and promotes a decentralized, interdependent approach to human and planetary healing that aligns with natural laws. Earth is a self-regulating, interconnected system where Gaia, human consciousness, social structures, and economies function as interdependent subsystems in the planet. Just as Gaia theory describes Earth's biosphere as self-organizing, collective unconscious and collective consciousness reveal how human thought, culture, and governance emerge as part of this planetary intelligence. To sustain life, humanity must shift from extraction to regeneration, aligning governance, industry, and culture with Gaia's self-organizing intelligence to become a conscious extension of Earth's living system rather than a force acting against it. Every current social issue reflects a collective trauma response shaped by shadow repression, unprocessed wounds, and covert systems of control that keep dysfunction in place. Governance should function like a nervous system, regulating balance rather than enforcing hierarchy. By seeing hidden power structures as manifestations of Gaia's collective trauma, we can shift from symptom management to root cause healing. Poverty and racial inequality are not accidents. They are engineered through economic policies, financial systems, and exclusionary laws. Carl Polanyi and Thomas Piketty show that wealth flows are structured to maintain inequality. From a psychoanalytic lens, poverty is a manifestation of collective insecurity, mirroring a hypervigilant nervous system stuck in survival mode. Racial inequalities reflect shadow projection where societies externalize disowned fears onto marginalized groups. Hidden power structures reveal wealth inequality, which is engineered through financial institutions, land ownership laws, and economic dependency, ensuring economic instability. Racial hierarchies are reinforced by coded legal policies, biased policing, and corporate gatekeeping. Gender inequality isn't about a lack of representation, it's embedded in how societies value women's labor and power. Rian Eisler argued that patriarchal economies undervalue caregiving and emotional labor. From a psychoanalytic lens, the suppression of femininity and distorted masculinity reflect a collective anima and animus wound, where societies reject nurturing, intuition, and cooperative leadership models. The hidden power structures reveal that patriarchal systems include unequal pay structures, legal control over reproductive rights, and exclusion from leadership to maintain male dominance. Judith Butler and Kimberly Crenshaw revealed how rigid gender and sexuality norms reinforce oppressive institutions. From a psychoanalytic lens, resistance to gender and sexual diversity mirrors the ego's fear of dissolution, reinforcing rigid identity structures as a defense mechanism. The hidden power structures here reveal how religious institutions, corporate lobbying, and legal frameworks maintain heteronormative control, restricting rights under the guise of traditional values. Capitalism prioritizes youth and productivity while disregarding intergenerational wisdom. The Grand Challenges for Social Work initiative emphasized policies in 2015 that promote intergenerational collaboration. From a psychoanalytic lens, society's devaluation of elders may reflect a collective fear of mortality and impermanence, leading to age segregation and erasure of historical wisdom. The hidden power structures reveal corporate-driven economic systems which push younger labor forces into perpetual productivity while eliminating intergenerational influences. Addiction is not an individual condition or a personal failing. It's a response to unprocessed trauma, disconnection, and economic instability. Gabor Mate and Bessel van der Kolk showed that healing addiction requires addressing systemic root causes. From a psychoanalytic lens, addiction mirrors collective dissociation, a coping mechanism for unprocessed cultural and historical trauma. The hidden power structures reveal the prison industrial complex and pharmaceutical industries, which both profit from criminalization and medical dependency, maintaining cycles of addiction and incarceration. The justice system punishes symptoms instead of addressing root causes. Angela Davis and Howard Zehr argue for restorative justice as a more effective alternative. From a psychoanalytic lens, the punitive superego of authoritarian societies punishes trauma responses instead of addressing root issues. The hidden power structures reveal private prisons, biased legal policies, and for-profit policing ensure marginalized communities remain criminalized, reinforcing class hierarchy. Sexual norms are regulated through power structures which dictate morality and control bodily autonomy. Foucault's Discipline and Punish revealed how sexuality is shaped by institutional repression. From a psychoanalytic lens, societal sexual norms reflect collective repression of natural instincts, leading to hypersexualization or suppression. The hidden power structures are religious institutions, corporate advertising, and laws which restrict bodily autonomy and instill shame and dependency to control sexual expression. The nuclear family is not a universal or a natural model. It was designed for capitalist efficiency. Sylvia Frederici showed how communal caregiving produces better outcomes. From a psychoanalytic lens, the breakdown of family structures may reflect a collective attachment wound where economic pressures disrupt secure bonding. The hidden power structures are housing policies, labor demands, and privatized childcare that keep families economically dependent on state and corporate systems. Education sorts students into economic classes rather than fostering true learning. Paulo Freire and bell hooks both argued for education as a liberatory process. Through a psychoanalytic lens, standardized education acts as a superego-driven structure, enforcing obedience over self-actualization. The hidden power structures are corporate-funded curricula, standardized testing, and student debt that reinforce intellectual compliance and economic subjugation. Success is not just about effort, it's about access to privilege. Guy Standing and Carl Polanyi critique exploitative labor markets. Through a psychoanalytic lens, the economy may mirror an abusive relationship, tying self-worth to productivity rather than intrinsic value. The hidden power structures are wage suppression, corporate monopolies, and exploitative labor laws, which ensure that workers remain trapped in dependency cycles. Health is often framed as an individual responsibility, but outcomes are shaped by social conditions. Through a psychoanalytic lens, we can see that Western medicine separates the mind from the body, treating illness as mechanical rather than holistic. The hidden power structures here reveal for-profit healthcare models, pharmaceutical lobbying, and insurance monopolies who all keep populations indebted and reliant on controlled treatments. Cities are designed for profit, not people. David Graeber critiqued urban policies that prioritize corporate interests over well-being. Through a psychoanalytic lens, over-urbanization mirrors humanity's dissociation from nature, while rural neglect reflects society's avoidance of ecological roots. The hidden power structures are corporate land grabs, gentrification, and infrastructure disparities, which all ensure resource control remains centralized. Overpopulation is not the cause of environmental destruction, capitalist expansion is. Vandana Shiva critiqued unchecked corporate growth. Through a psychoanalytic lens, Earth's ecosystems mirror burnout and depletion, reflecting an individual suffering from chronic overuse and exhaustion. The hidden power structures here show corporate environmental deregulation, oil monopolies, and resource exploitation that sustain destructive economic cycles. War is not about national security, it is an economic and political tool of control. Through a psychoanalytic lens, war is a collective fight-or-flight response, driven by survival narratives and power struggles. The hidden power structures here are the military-industrial complex, arms trade, and engineered conflicts, which all ensure that war remains profitable and perpetual. The pie is the way that social systems are manufactured, and the pie is designed to concentrate power, maintain control, and uphold existing hierarchies. This design is not accidental, but is the result of forces who unite to maintain the status quo. Throughout this presentation, I have examined how social problems such as poverty, inequality, environmental destruction, and war are not all isolated issues, but interconnected symptoms of a sick planet. The solution is not to fight for a piece of the pie, but to change the entire recipe. Every major social change started when people started questioning the pie itself. The question then becomes not just how to fix what's broken and repeat the cycles of oppression, scarcity, and conflict, but to ask ourselves how to create something together that can provide for everyone that is fundamentally different. By applying psychoanalytic techniques to the collective conscious and Jungian shadow work techniques to the collective unconscious, we can psychoanalyze Earth's crises as manifestations of Gaia's trauma. Hidden power structures reinforce these issues, preventing systemic change. This approach allows us to uncover these mechanisms and redesign systems that align with relational healing, sustainability, and interdependence. This framework is not just a theory, but a living, evolving movement designed to drive real-world transformation beyond traditional governance, economic structures, and social hierarchies. Just as shadow work allows individuals to integrate their unconscious wounds, society must confront and integrate its systemic shadows to realign with Gaia's self-regulating intelligence. Without this integration, humanity will remain locked in cycles of trauma, repression, and resistance to transformation.